Okay, good morning. I'm going to use this little microphone and hopefully get some better audio quality. But I'm just logging in this morning to check on our miners. And this is what we got. If you remember yesterday, I was mining at 15.7 terahash a second per S9 at 1300 watts. It's actually less than 1300 watts, but for the sake of math, simple math, we will just call it 1300 watts. So I set all of, now why is slushpool not long? Alright, there we go. So, looks like I set them all up, and I'm missing 2. I'm missing 3. Alright, it looks like the scoring hash rate is, so they tuned yesterday. Well, this one didn't do too well, but it looks like they're averaging about 15 terahash a second for 1300 watts. Let's write some of this down. I'm going to do a comparison between this and ASICseer. Here's my pen. Alright, I don't know if you can see my paper. I'm going to write some notes down. Maybe if I back this up a little bit, you can see what I'm doing. Got crap everywhere. I don't think you're going to be able to see what I'm doing, but I can pull a calculator up. Let's see. All right. So with ASIC, you know what? We can do this. Tripod. Alright, so what I'll do is we got ASICseer here and Braiins here. So I was getting 15.7 terahash a second with that. Now it looks like, what do you guys think? 15, 14.6, 14.9, 12.6, 13.6, 15.5, and 15.5. Well, we could just do an average. Let's do 2 plus 0.51 plus 50.68 plus 12.26 plus 14.90 plus 14.69 plus 15.06. That adds up, and then we divide that by 7. And so our average is 14.51 terahash of working units. ASICseer, I had 10 units working. With Braiins, I had 7 out of 10 working. You know, if you add the average hash rate along the same range of miners, so if I add in the other 3 that are 0 terahash right now, that would change this number. But let's just assume that this is the number. Let's cut Braiins a little break, okay? It isn't that terrible of software. It's a matter of preference and what you like, you know. They do say, well, we'll do pros and cons later. Let's just, I'm getting off track here. So, okay, 14.51. I set them all at 1300 watts. Same with ASICseer. And ASICseer was giving me, I can show you guys up here. I'll go, what was I getting? 81 watts of terahash at 13. You know, I've gotten this as low as 70 watts of terahash before. 71, 72. That's when you set your wattage at 1200, 1100. You can get pretty efficient. But yeah, you can see here, my average is 15.5. When I had the others on here, it was a little higher, but yeah. So, all right, back to the drawing board here. So, watts per terahash, or joules per terahash. Let's see what they are. Well, this one we already know is 80. Let's just call it 80. 80 watts of terahash. And then Braiins is, we're going to have to do the math. Where's my calculator? All right. So, get 1300 watts. You can divide it by 14.51. And you're going to get 89 watts of terahash. It's not as bad as yesterday. Yesterday was like 98 when we first put them on. So I guess they're done tuning. So now ASICseer has a dev fee of 2 or 3%. I'm not really sure. So let's put that in there. Dev fee. Let's call it dev fee per unit. So how much is that actually costing us? I don't know if it's 2 or 3%. So let's just, better safe than sorry, call it 3%. And the dev fee per unit at an average of 15.7 terahash. 15.7 times 3% is 0.47 terahash. So it's almost half a terahash going into the unit. So we can subtract that. 15.7 minus 47 and 6. I'm too stupid to do that in my head. Alright, so you're actually getting 15.23 terahash at 1300 watts with ASICseer. That's take home, that's net. So you're netting that. And Braiins has no dev fee, allegedly, as far as we know. And so you're netting actually 14.51. So those are your bottom lines. With ASICseer, it's 15.23 terahash, and with Braiins, it's 14.51. With a difference of 0.51. Wish I could. I wonder if there's a way. Oh, look at that. Okay, so you got 14.51 divided by 15.23 is a difference of 5%. 5.8% diff. 5.8%. So ASICseer is 5.8% better than Braiins, according to this experiment. 5.8%. Now, 3 of my machines that I upgraded aren't running. 3 out of 10. You take that for, you can interpret that however you want. In the interest of clarity, I did reboot them several times, and one of them appeared to just be in a cycle where it would boot up and then go down, boot up and go down, like every 60 seconds or so. I imagine I could get them online if I sat here and reinstalled or flash Braiins instead of booting off the NAND, but I didn't want to spend the time to do that because this is just an experiment, and I was going to turn these miners off anyway. Well, so let's go pros and cons now. Man, I'm already at 10 minutes on this video. I suck at this. So we got the pros and cons. We got 3 major ASICseer. We got ASICseer, we got VNISH, which is really good software too, and Braiins. I mean, look, they did a better job than me. I can't even make firmware, so I can't complain. Alright, so ASICseer's got pros. You got P's and you got C's. Pros and cons. P's and C's. P's and C's. Alright, so ASICseer is the fine tuning is automatic. And fine tuning, it's not enough to have fine tuning, it needs to be a good fine tuning. So their fine tuning is great. Does a really good job. It takes about 6 hours. The cons, has a dev fee, which is understandable. I'm not knocking that, but you know, from my perspective as a end user, I would rather have no dev fee. But even if you say it's no dev fee, how do I really know that unless I'm sitting here watching it constantly? There's so many leeches on these things. I'm sure the pools are leeching a lot more of our hash rate than they're letting on, and that's everybody. It's not any particular pool. It's just kind of like accepted. Anyway, except for Colitis' pool, CK pool, but good luck finding a block on there, even though they recently just did find a block. So dev fee is the negative. It's not super easy to install. It's not like you have to have some technical background. It took me, I had to do Bootstrap, and because I was coming from a Mac, so it's not very Mac friendly, but it's doable. So let's say it's a con. Setup is a little difficult. It's not beginner friendly. Setup is difficult. I'm gonna put that on the Braiins too. Actually, they all have that as a con, so that's a wash. VNISH is the same way. If you have SSH locked, you have to unlock that, use his unlocking tool, and it's just, and then you got to get the config file. He had the team viewer into mind to get that right, because I changed the password of the admin password. I changed the root password and it messed everything up. Alright, so setup is difficult there too. Now VNISH is pretty much the same thing as ASICseer, but it doesn't have an auto tune. Well, at least it didn't when I was messing with it a couple months ago, and that was an S17 that I was messing on. It doesn't auto tune the fans, to be specific. It doesn't auto tune the fans. I think it does. It does auto. You can. The chips you have to manually configure, but you can tune each chip individually, manually. I do like that. Tune gives you more control. But I don't know if it has an auto tune feature. If it had both tune the chips manually and auto tune, that would be great. But the fans are big. When I put that in on my S17, my fans ran at 100% non-stop, and I just didn't like that. I felt like it was giving extra wear and tear on the machine. Braiins, on the other hand, doesn't have auto tune. That's a con. No. Well, actually, this one I just installed, so it does have auto tune now, but it didn't look like it auto tuned the chips. Let's tunes just the hash board. Let's take a look at that. All right, let's take a look at one of these miners real quick. I'm at 15 minutes already on this video. It's going fast. So one of the miners we got going is at this IP address. All right. Oh, I'm on the wrong network. Hold on. All right. Let's just poke around, see what you can do with this. I didn't really. So you got a configuration version. All right. That's where your pool info goes. You can add more pools. I wonder how many you can do. 4. Well, that's kind of cool. What are these pools you could add? 7. All right. Well, I don't want to do that. Got ASIC boost. You can set your frequency globally, which means it goes across all hash boards. You can override global hash chain settings on one board, 2 boards, or 3 boards individually. So that's nice. You can set your max temperature so it can, I guess it would shut off. You can control your fan manually. And then you can auto tune. It doesn't say how it auto tunes though. It looks just like it auto tunes the hash boards. Now that's different than VNISH and, well, I'm sorry, ASICseer auto tunes the chips, I think, right? Well, if they don't, then that's a con. Whereas in VNISH's software, you can auto tune each individual chip, which is what I really like about VNISH's. You know, I'm not going to say one is better than all of them. All the other ones, they all have their pros and cons. So, interfaces, static roots, we don't care about that. Then you got software. What's that? I guess that's how you upload stuff. Anyway, I think we've gone over enough to to let you make your own decisions about which software you would like. Braiins did shut down 3 of my miners out of 10. So in conclusion, I would say ASICseer is what I would stick with moving forward, even with the dev fee. It's been around long. It's very stable. However, Braiins is open source and it doesn't have, well, I saw some of the arguments about why it's not open source or what it is. I'm not getting involved with that, but I know that's why some of the big miners like Braiins, is because it is open source and there's no dev fee. Because part of the problem with huge corporations is they don't want to have a dev fee. It's hard to control that. They have to be able to control their expenses as a business, to run the business. I think they just, for accounting purposes, don't want to have a dev fee, honestly. So maybe ASICseer or VNISH can make a software for enterprise level that doesn't have any dev fee, and they give you the source code and all that. But that's another topic for another day. And anyway, I think this is enough. Bye.